podcast Amsterdam.
And we are bringing you the next instalment of Middlebare Mashup. I'm joined by Margaret Kearns down the line this morning, and we've got the next instalment of Middlebare Mashup, a mini-series on the multitudinal stages involved in the transition from Basis School to Middlebare School, and taking a closer look at some of the schools here in Amsterdam. Margaret, hello.
Hi.
Hi. So I've kind of slightly lost track of where we are in this process. So do give us a little quick summary, please.
Okay. Well, today we're going to look at, have a quick look at 4 schools.
Wow, 4. Okay.
Yeah. So I won't be spending as much time, before we did, I think 3 schools, and it was maybe more detailed. So there's lots of schools to get through, basically, and we're coming to the end of this process. So I think I need to quicken it up a little bit. Right. So today we'll do 4 schools, and they are Spinoza Lyceum, Metis Montessori, MLA, which is Montessori Lyceum Amsterdam. And the 4th school is the DENISE school. DENISE, yeah. Okay. So you might find that interesting, actually.
Yeah, well, I mean, the names alone are kind of interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'll let you take them in the order in which you have prepared them.
Okay. So we'll start with the Spinoza Lyceum, and that is located in Amsterdam Zuid. It's a Dalton secondary school. So Dalton is, I guess it's an educational method, and it was pioneered by Helen Parkhurst. She was an American teacher from the United States, and she invented Dalton education. And she saw school, she died in the 70s, but she was born at the end of the 1800s. And she saw school as a place to practice learning and living. So a quote from her is, "Let us think of school rather as a sociological laboratory where the pupils themselves are the experimenters, not the victims of an intricate and crystallized system in the evolution of which they have neither part nor lot." Let us think of it as a place where community conditions prevail as they prevail in life itself. So she was really trying to connect pupils to society. So they don't have a frontal classroom teaching either. The teacher isn't usually at the top of the classroom, like maybe in a more traditional setting. She advocated arranging the classrooms in such a way that children with different degrees of development can work on different tasks together. And that's what they try and do with the Spinoza Lyceum. And the core values in Dalton education are freedom and responsibility, cooperation, independence, reflection, and effectiveness. So at Spinoza Lyceum, they design it in such a way that the pupils learn to deal with freedom, because we are in the Netherlands anyway, of course. So I think it's part of probably every school's principles in a way, I think, in this country, or most schools anyway. So that they learn to deal with freedom, they learn to work together, and then they learn more thoroughly and how to reflect on their work and become more independent. So how education is structured there is they have 3 levels. So they have MAVO, which is VMBOT. They have a HAVO program and a VWO program. And they also have a thing called the Dalton Uur, which is every day. So every day they have an extra hour that they can choose to work independently themselves. It's called a Dalton Uur. So that's it's like a free hour, I guess, in a way that you can maybe work on your homework or on a special project, which is nice. Yeah. And their classes start at 8:30 and they finish at 2:20.
Oh,
every day. Yeah. So within their VWO program, actually, they have Atheneum and Gymnasium. Okay. Yeah. And HAVO and Atheneum are the largest components, looking at their figures at their website. And so most kids, majority of children do the HAVO and Atheneum, and then a smaller group do MAVO, and a smaller group do Gymnasium, as in end up with their diplomas. They have a 1-year Bruch class. So what that means is, like, some schools would have a 2-year Bruch class, and then there's a couple of schools that have a 3-year Bruch class, which means that, say, if you go into a classroom that has a mixture of, say, HAFO and VVO kids, your Bruch class might last 1 year or 2 years or 3 years, and then you're streamed at the end of that period of time into the particular level, either HAFO or VVO, for your final diploma. And in Spinoza Lyceum, it's a 1-year Bruch class. They have a MAFO-HAFO Bruch class, and they have a HAFO Athenaeum Bruch class. They have an Athenaeum only and a Gymnasium only. The other important thing to know is that you have, if your child goes to a Dalton Basis school, so primary school, you have Vorrang. Vorrang means that you have priority at this Lyceum. So, and it's the same with Montessori. So if you go to a Montessori Basis school, you have priority at the Montessori high school. And the same with the Dalton. If you go into, for example, the HAFO VVO Bruch class, the teachers then teach at both levels for that first year.
Right.
Yeah. I don't know how they do it, but they do. And then the kids would get grades back at each level. Right. So you'll do your exam or your test or whatever, not exam. You do your test or your assignment, and then your grade comes back and you're marked at a HAVO level and a VVO level. So you might, for example, get 7 if you're marked at the HAFO, and then you might get 5.5 or 6 if you're marked at the VVO level, you know? And that kind of gives the indication then at the end of the Bruch class, which level you're going to go into in second year.
Yeah.
Do you understand?
I think so.
Yeah. Well, parents who are doing this process will have more understanding of it, I guess, than you, because they're in the Dutch system. So don't worry if you don't. It's okay. It's okay.
I mean, I'm glad I've got you to spell all these things out for me. But goodness, yes, it's complicated. Yeah. So
you're basically marked on 2 levels for the full year.
Right.
And then that indicates then which level you go into for second year, either one or the other.
Yeah.
You don't stay in it for the whole of your school career. So, like, if you have also in the HAFO VVO Bruch class, if you have very good results and if you're interested in the classic languages, you can then stream into the Gymnasium in year 2.
Okay.
Which is nice.
Yeah,
very nice.
It's really good.
Yeah, if you kind of, and then I think you can get extra lessons then, because you haven't done it. You haven't done Latin or Greek for that first year, but then they kind of bring you up to speed in second year. So it's an option for children who don't have, you know, a full VVO advies. That you need that to go into a gymnasium. But yeah, so this is another way to get there if you want to. And art and culture is really important at Spinoza. Everybody in the Underbau in the first couple of years, everybody follows art and design. Like drawing, painting, printing techniques, graffiti, photography and film. And you also learn digital applications. And they pay attention to art history. They're big into kind of musical and dance performances. And they have a professional theatre, actually.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, light and sound and decor and all of that kind of stuff and technical stuff is looked after by the pupils themselves. So, you know, there's a technique / engineering squad. So they would like put on the whole show and apparently it's really nice. And this is a yearly thing. They put on this musical every year.
Yeah.
So it's really integral to the Spinoza Lyceum.
How lovely. Yeah.
Yeah. It's also, they also work with iPads and Chromebooks a lot. Okay, so that's something to know.
Yeah.
Some kids would like that, and some parents might not like their kids to be using the screen a lot.
Yeah. Are you expected to fund that yourselves? I suppose you are, aren't you?
Well, you would buy it, but in all of these schools who require you to have a Chromebook or an iPad, you can buy it through the school for discount.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So you use a Chromebook in first year, and then later they move to using iPads.
Okay.
And they access their textbooks through that. Let me see. They also have a Music Plus program, which is it's not an extra class, because I remember hearing about this before, and I thought it was an extra class that you're just put straight into a Music Plus program for the whole 5-6 years. But it's not an extra class. What it is, it's basically an extra subject for HAFO and VVO pupils. So you can apply for the Music Plus program on your lottery list. But if you're accepted, if you get that option after the lottery, then you have to do an audition afterwards.
Okay, so it's not a guarantee.
No, but the program is basically it's an extra subject, so it's not a class on its own. It's an extra subject then for those pupils, and then you have less gym. If you do the Music Plus program, you have less gym and less science classes.
Right.
As a result, they have to fit it in somewhere, I guess. Oh, I mentioned the Dalton Hour as well, the Dalton Hour, that's a daily thing. And you decide which subject to work with. You can also register with a teacher for extra help, extra explanation, or you can work independently. They have 8 Broekklassen. So they have 8 classes coming in every year. It's quite a big school. I'm not sure that I mentioned how many kids. I think it's 1,285. Pupils. The classes are 50 minutes long. So they start off with 2 gymnasium classes, 1 Athenaeum, 2 HAVO VWO, 2 MAVO HAVO.
So that's Spinoza.
That's Spinoza. And then at the MAVO level you can take, so that's a 4-year program.
Right.
And you can take exams in 4 sectors. So your final exams can be in 4 sectors: technology, economy, agriculture, or care and welfare.
Right.
So you, after 3rd year, you choose one of those sectors and you follow those subjects in 4th year.
Yeah.
And then for HAVO and VWO, it's the regular profiles that every school offers. I won't go into that right now.
Okay.
And also in the HAVO and VWO levels, you can take an extra course in 4th year called Nature, Life and Technology, looking at its modern developments in natural sciences, and you do field work and go on excursions, etc. Gym class is 2 hours a week. The other thing about Spinoza is they work with Top Score, which is an initiative of the Amsterdam municipality, the city of Amsterdam. So there are 4 sports options you can follow after school, because usually in Dutch schools you don't do sports, like there aren't sports activities or sports clubs really related part of the school, maybe in Ireland and England there's lots of sports in schools, sports clubs, but so here in Spinoza there are 4 options that you can follow after school: street dance, American football, basketball, women's football, and they're led by a specialised trainer. And then you can take part in the Top Score kind of competitions, yearly competitions with other schools who also use Top Score as well.
When they take those sport classes, is that on site, or do they then move to...
It's on site.
It is, yeah.
Although, I mean, if it's American football, I'm not exactly sure where they'd be playing that. But it says directly after school you can take part in your sports options. But look, possibly, I mean, it's so close to the... what do you call it? Olympia Plain, the fields up there, the sports fields.
Yeah.
So, like, I often see that high schools are using those fields as well. So maybe they pop up there. It's only a couple of minutes away for American football, for example, or women's football.
Yeah, great. All right. So that's the first school, Spinoza.
That's Spinoza Lyceum.
Okay.
Podcast Amsterdam.
Margaret, we've got a couple of schools now, 2 more schools to look at.
Yeah, but we're going to look at 2 schools now. So we look at one Montessori and then the DENISE school.
All right, okay.
Montessori Lyceum, Amsterdam.
Yeah.
So it is, like I said, it's based in Oud-Zuid near Museumplein. It's a really big school, 1,900 pupils.
Wow, yeah.
Yeah, but each are subdivided into smaller buildings. So it's not like it's one big massive school and there's 1,900 pupils there. They have 3 levels: MAVO, HAVO and VWO. MAVO is basically one of the levels of VMBO-T, and it's called MAVO as well. It's a Montessori school. Basically, Maria, it's based on the principles of Maria Montessori, an Italian teacher, educator, developer. Her motto is "Help me to do it myself." That's the Montessori
I've heard,
principle.
I'm familiar with the name of it. I don't actually know what it means in practice, so that's very interesting. Yeah. Help me to do it myself.
Help me to do it myself. And my 2 younger children are in the Montessori primary school, so that really is how it is actually.
Right, yeah.
It's about really building independence and kind of guiding the child. That's what the teacher's role is to guide the child alongside the child to be able to do things themselves. It's nice.
Yeah.
So there's lots of space to plan and do your own work independently. The broad goals of MLA are independence, fostering independence and creativity and social awareness. Mm-hmm. Okay, so there are three kind of broad ideals. And it's also a recognised Kulturprofil school. So that's a culture profile school.
Right.
Not every school has that, or even aims to be a Kulturprofil school, but the MLA does. And so they offer all their students a minimal foundation of an arts and culture education.
Yeah.
They place great importance on that, about students developing their creativity and acquiring knowledge of art and culture in the broad sense of the word. They believe that art has it's ideally suited to help you kind of learn and look at things in the world differently. When students are talented and motivated, the MLA gives them a lot of opportunity to develop in the field of art and culture. So there are plenty of talented pupils there also, very artistic kids. They have a wide range of art and culture. You can take your final exam in drama and drawing, but you cannot take it in music. They don't have music as a final exam. Right. That's something to note. In the lower years, in the first couple of years, they offer, everybody gets to do drama, music. So in the lower years, you do music, drawing, textile work. The name of that is, in Dutch, I can't remember now, but, textielwerkvormen.
Okay, yeah.
So they work with textiles and they create their own, fashion kind of items like bags and clothing. And they have like lots of interdisciplinary art projects in the lower years and the upper years.
Yeah.
You also can do philosophy as an exam subject at the MLA. Which is not available everywhere. There are only certain schools that offer philosophy as an end exam in your final diploma. They believe it contributes also to the development of creativity, and you can think critically about different aspects of life, the whole creative process.
Yeah.
Okay, what else? They also have, interestingly, they have a Jongere Rechtbank, which is basically a youth courts foundation. Some schools work with this. So basically MLA together with the Youth Court Foundation, they set up a special court that is run by the students. So the students on the court, they're trained by the Amsterdam police, and they learn to judge their peers, judge in inverted commas. They learn to judge their peers in cases and conflicts that actually occur in the school environment. And, they make I suppose, assessments of the situation, and what the idea behind it is like to help kids who have, or teens who have maybe caused some issues, like to make restitution, I suppose, and take responsibility and see the consequences. So, that's an interesting...
just amazing. The difference in approaches to education here than to what I'm familiar with in the UK. It's just extraordinary. I mean... Yeah. I love it. I love that they are.
It is.
Encouraged to kind of mature from the beginning like this. To really be a stakeholder in their own lives and decision making. That's I just don't see that happening in the UK. It's so different.
Yeah, great. Yeah, it is. It's great,
and the variety.
The variety of schools is incredible. Yeah, it really is. There's so much choice.
I mean, I'm really jealous. I wish I'd had a Dutch education now, or had been able to offer it to my children.
Don't we all?
It's awesome. Yeah, sorry. Anyway, I interrupted.
No, it's nice. It's nice to hear your feedback about the schools as well when you're not used to it, and then to hear your reaction. Yeah. So MLA, they work. They have 4 blocks a year. So how they do it is they have 4 blocks, and within each block is a 9 to 12 week kind of program. I spoke yesterday with the lovely daughter of a friend of mine and her daughter goes to MLA. So we spoke last night for about 45 minutes, and she really gave me a really nice insight into MLA.
Yeah.
She's in the Bovabouw, so she's in 4th year. And so she was telling me about it. Yeah, so like I said, fashion, technique, which is like / engineering, art, drama, music. In 3rd year, you get, the fashion show. The fashion show is at the end of 3rd year, and that's brilliant fun. And it's a really big deal, and everybody goes to it. And so you get to show off, whoever has done their fashion work. You get to kind of show off everything at the end of third year. So it's really nice. And fashion is one subject you can take in third year: music, drama, art, photography, and then you can work like with themes around fashion as well. It's not just making the stuff; it's all the themes around fashion. Like, for example, she said that 1 year when she was doing it in third year, you had to make some clothes around the fashion of, or around the theme of animals, the natural world. So that was an interesting thing. She said she didn't quite crack it, but they also, similar to the Dalton hour, they also have a Koos Werktijd, which is basically at least 1 hour a day. You have a free hour as well to choose what you want to do with your hour. So you can add yourself into a class. I thought this was amazing, actually. You can literally sign yourself up to go to like English class or German class if you feel you need extra support in something, or you just want to sit in. You can, like you do it electronically.
Get a taster. Yeah.
And you can just add yourself into an extra class for that 1 hour. And sometimes she said they just sit and chat or whatever, but the idea is that you are doing something, I guess, proactive. Yeah. You call teachers by their first name. She really likes that. It makes it nice. It's comfortable to talk to the teachers. So you don't have to use u, the more formal u. You can use the I with the teachers. So she said that gives a nice kind of a comfortable vibe. The thing about it is, though, because it's Montessori, you really have to plan your own work. And this is what they do in Montessori primary schools. The kids are kind of trained, I suppose, or guided to plan their own work, so that you have a lot of freedom, but it's structured within that. And you really learn good planning skills. So
great life skill.
So this girl was telling me that she didn't go to a Montessori primary school, so she found the whole planning thing was really difficult. And it wasn't, and she said other kids didn't go to a Montessori school and didn't have issues with it, but for her it was really difficult. So for the first year she really had to, when she was behind with the assignments and everything, because you're given a lot of freedom. Like, you have to just hand it in at the end of the block, one of those 4 blocks. So by the end of the year she had lots of things still that she had to kind of get in there, and she really needed to look for help then. And if you really need the help, the teachers will step in there and help you. Getting your planning sorted, your planning skills kind of in place is very important, especially in the Montessori high school. They also offer extra Dutch lessons if you're not a native Dutch speaker. And they also, she said, what they're really good at is they offer extra support for dyslexic kids.
Great.
The camps are, she said, if you're really into travel, it's probably not the best school to go to, because there are not as many camps as there would be maybe in some other schools. So in second year, everybody goes on a werkweek, which is like a work week, but it's not really working. But anyway, that's what they call it. And you go, you can go canoeing or rowing, or it's called creative walking. I was roaring laughing at this because she said you go creative walking to the Veluwe. You know the Veluwe?
Yes,
like one of the
beautiful
national parks? Yeah. And you walk for 3 days. So, but I thought she meant that you walk for 3 days to get to the Veluwe from Amsterdam. But no, you don't. You are driven to the Veluwe, and then you walk within the Veluwe, the park, for 3 days. And then at the end of it, you perform. There's a bus theatre in the Veluwe, in the national park, and you put on a performance there. How cool is that? Amazing. For the kids who choose that. It sounds fantastic. Another option is cycling. So you can go like cycling for 60 kilometres in Drenthe, beautiful Drenthe up there in the north somewhere. And that's in second year. And then in fourth year, the other option then is you can go to, for example, France to go surfing, cooking, or yoga, doing a yoga week.
Brilliant.
Oh, sorry, I should have said, in the second year werkweek, the working part of that is the working part. You have to do your own grocery shopping and your own cooking. That's what it is. Okay. So it's not just faffing around. You're kind of really setting yourself up for the whole week with your colleagues, your Montessori colleagues, and figuring out how to live, I guess, really, probably staying in a hostel. Or sometimes they rent these big houses, like lovely houses, and everybody piles in there and you stay there for the week.
And this is age 13, roughly?
Second year. So, yeah, you could be 13, 14.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And then in fourth year, you can go to France, surfing, yoga, cooking. Scotland, you can go hiking to the Ardennes, the Ardennes Mountains in Belgium. You can go camping there. So that's in fourth year. And also the pupils who take art as an end exam, she thinks they go to Paris. And the gymnasium kids, like everywhere else, all the other gymnasium kids in the Netherlands, you go to Rome on your week trip in fifth year. Yeah, you can also do, they have English plus, Engels plus, they have German plus, French plus. These are extra subjects kind of that you can take in the BOFA in the upper years. So if you want to do extra, get really good at English, I guess, or French or Dutch. So if you take Engels plus, then you can do the Cambridge exam.
Yeah.
You can do the, I believe, if you take German plus, you can do the Goethe exam in German and the Delft exam in French. So you have those certificates then that you can present, I guess. If you want to go to university in France or in Germany or whatever, in England or Ireland, America, you have these options.
Concrete qualifications. Really good.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so that's MLA.
Yeah, that's MLA.
Podcast Amsterdam.
So the next school we're going to look at is the DENISE school, and that stands for the Nieuwe Internationale School Esprit, and that is it's part of a network, the Esprit network. Okay. So the other schools that are in that here in Amsterdam are Europa School in Oudenaarde, and also the Amsterdam International Community School, known as ACE.
Yes.
You would know of that.
I am familiar with that one, yeah.
Yeah. So they're in the same network, the Esprit network. And this is a school that basically you can go there from the age of 4 and come out the other end at age 16, 17 or 18.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. So, all right. Well, so pretty much the whole of your education, yeah.
Yeah. And it's a fairly new school. Actually, it's probably not that new now, but 2014.
Okay,
starting in 2014. Some good friends of mine who lived here back then, they sent their schools. I remember the whole kerfuffle about it at the time. It was like a new school, an international, sort of was seen as a Dutch international school.
Yeah.
So the Dutch aspect of it was, you can learn some Dutch, but you'll also learn English there. But it was practically free. So you were going to be have a bilingual education, but you would not be paying like 7,000 or 8,000 or 22,000 that you pay in other private international schools.
Yeah.
And I think ACE is maybe 7,000 or 8,000 a year. So that was it was a big draw for everybody at the time.
Sure.
So they sent their kids for a few years until they moved back to the States. The idea of DENISE is they offer accessible international education with broad awareness of the collective responsibility for the world that we live in. So they offer a broad international curriculum. So in the primary school they use the IPC curriculum, and in the Middlebare school section they do the middle years program.
Yes.
The International Middle Years Curriculum, I should say, IMYC. In the high school section you can do MAVO and HAVO. You can do those two Dutch. You can choose for those two Dutch diplomas, or you can do the IB, because they have or are just about to get, but I think they have it now, IB accreditation.
Yeah. Okay.
So you can also do your IB there, which is
it's a great option.
Really it's a great option for parents who want their kids to do that. And they would look at their school kind of as a pioneer school. Like I said, they have a dual language program, and they help their pupils with speaking, reading, writing skills in English and in Dutch. So they use the Dutch language for teaching on 3 days a week, and an English teacher for 2 days a week.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that keeps you agile.
Yeah, true.
So is there support for that if you happen to be a bit short on one of them?
Yeah. They have lots of support built in there.
Yeah.
I think there's a new director maybe in the last year or so as well. And so, I know that they had lots of teething problems, as every school does, and especially because it was a whole new concept. But it seems to have really straightened itself out now, and parents are really happy with it. Yeah, it seems to be doing really well, and it's a very popular school as well.
Do you happen to know the size roughly?
Oh, I do not actually know how many pupils are there.
Don't worry.
Yeah, good question, because I usually know, but I don't know that one.
Okay.
This school, actually.
Sorry to interrupt your phone.
I don't think it's that big. No, it's not. It's like a developing school.
Yeah, I suppose happens in a lot of these. Although it's been open long enough now, but they usually sort of build year on year, don't they? Rather
exactly.
Than go,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
A friend of mine, she has a few kids there. They're now in the Middlebare school section. They spent some years in the primary.
Yeah.
They are really happy with it. She's very happy. She feels that Denise is like the ideal school for expat kids living in Amsterdam long term.
Yeah.
There are kids from mixed families, international families. There's also Dutch kids who are interested in an international environment. For her family, it's the perfect combination of, that they're an international family, they're a mixed international family, and then they also plan to live here for, pretty much long term, as much as any of us know how long we live here if we're planning to be long term. The staff are Dutch. The system is Dutch, but it has an international curriculum of values. And it's, like I was saying, it's a public school. So all the public schools have, there is a voluntary contribution that parents have to make, but it is quote unquote voluntary. Although you should pay it if you can pay for it.
Yes.
There are kids in the school from so many nationalities, colours, religions, languages. So she feels the kids grow up really open-minded and have friends from all over the world. The school communication is really good, and it's done in English and Dutch, which is really nice.
It would come as a relief to some of us, yes.
Oh yes, yeah. And that's done through informative parents, letters to the parents and coffee mornings. At the moment, obviously, things are online, coffee mornings, but the new building as well. So they moved to a new building about a year or so ago, and it's just a couple of minutes from Rembrandt Park, and it's fantastic. It's really big, huge windows, an amazing theatre in the centre of the building, 2 gyms, lots of labs, science labs, a library, art rooms, music rooms, and basketball and football courts outside.
Fantastic.
And lots of emphasis on drama and music.
Yeah. Really great. Yeah.
They have a weekly assembly in the theatre for the whole school, which is nice. It's kind of like more of it's not really a Dutch thing. It's not a Dutch school thing to do that. And she thinks it seems to be really attractive to teachers. So there are really good teachers there, and there's no lack of teachers.
Yeah.
Because it's a new building as well, they have a really good air system, and the design of the building allows for one-way student flow.
Oh, wow, that's timely.
They've had very few corona cases.
How interesting. Yeah.
And she just really likes the way that they work. So the kids get a theme for 2 or 3 months, and then they research it with lots of teamwork with other, their friends, and self-study, and they learn to present. So this prepares them for university and the working life, I guess.
Yeah.
The brew class, I mentioned that earlier, is it's 3 years. There's a camp at the beginning of the year. Yeah. So at the end of the 3 years, you're basically, I think you move into either MAFO or HAFO, or then you pick for the IB.
Yeah.
So then it's all English. If you go for the IB, then it's completely English then from fourth year up.
Okay.
There are 2 classes of 22 kids in a class, and there's 2 mentors for each class. There are 20 spots open for new kids from the lottery, because they obviously give priority for the children coming from the primary school of Denise. Mm-hmm. So there aren't as many lottery places as there would be in other Middlebare schools. Yeah. So there are 20 places open for new kids from the lottery, 7 places for VVO kids, 7 for HAFO, and 6 for MAFO. And you can also do subject. The level of your subjects can be different, right, which is also very unusual, because in most Dutch schools, the level has to be the same in each subject. Yeah, if it's a VWO level, everything's in VWO.
Yeah, yeah.
But at Denise, you can pick your level for each subject, which is
great. Yes,
nice. You can move between them.
Yeah.
There's no lockers, and there's a canteen with lots of nice food. It's not expensive. And then there's an Albert Heijn 2 minutes away, like most places have. There's a large catchment area.
All
okay,
right. Yeah.
So lots of students from everywhere around the Amsterdam environs, and she thinks the communication with the rector is between the rector and parents is good even at the moment during Corona times.
Yeah. Very good, very good. All right. So you've got one more school to bring us, is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just wanted to say how much the cost is. Their voluntary parent contribution, it's €225 per year per child. That's the voluntary contribution. And then IB students, if you do the IB, then you have to pay an additional €425 exam fee per year per child. So that's in the final 2 years of your education.
Okay, so that's, that adds up.
They don't have a waiting list for Middlebare School. So to enter it, they don't have a waiting list. In the IB school, there's a school trip as well.
Oh, yeah, great.
They have field trips almost each unit. I'm not sure what they mean by that, each unit. But anyway, that's 5 times a year.
Wow.
1 day trips. Yeah. 1 day
great.
trips. I'm not sure about their camps, like if they do overseas camps or not. I didn't look into it in that detail.
Just one.
I'm sure they do. I'm sure they do something.
Yes, most places seem to, especially here.
They do something. Yeah, I'm sure they do. Probably a week. If you do the IB, maybe you can go to maybe France or England or whatever, language trips.
Exactly.
I'm guessing anyway.
Exactly. So just one quick question then. For anyone who is, because you said this school goes from primary up to 18.
Yeah.
So if you are at this stage now where you're looking at going up into Middlebare School, but you're already at this school, do you still have to go through this lottery process, or can you just assume that you could just carry on and avoid the whole lottery process?
You can avoid it if you're going directly from the primary into the secondary.
You can.
Yeah.
Okay.
You have priority. You just go into it.
So you're not obliged to still go through the system and just give them priority.
They just have 20 places in the lottery then for external pupils.
Yeah. Okay, great.
Yeah. And also, just to say, English and Dutch are taught as first languages. So in secondary they teach 2/3 though in Dutch. So in primary it seems to be a little bit more English, but in secondary it's 2/3 Dutch and 1/3 in English. Also, they offer French and Spanish. They don't offer German. And they don't do Latin and Greek. They don't have a gymnasium aspect.
No, okay.
So their extra subjects are French and Spanish.
Yeah, okay.
Spanish is actually unusual. There aren't that many schools, I think, that do Spanish.
No, but there's a significant expats basis here for that. So that must appeal to a few, especially, when you think of the South American families as well. So that would, okay, that's really good.
Podcast Amsterdam.
So, we're going to look at the Metis Montessori Lyceum.
Yeah.
MML. And this is the second Montessori school in Amsterdam, Middlebare School. And it's a young school. They say that they're an ambitious school. It's located on the Mauritskade in Amsterdam Oost. So it's over there beside the Oosterpark.
Yeah.
Close enough to Artis, that area. They have, obviously they use the Montessori method that we mentioned earlier. Yeah, their vision comes down to 4 points excellence. They say that they don't mean you have to excel in all of the subjects in order to stay at the Metis, but they encourage every student to get the best out of themselves. So they offer customization in subjects that you get extra support where it's necessary. You can accelerate, if you need to, if you can skip years or classes. Actually, I'm not sure about years. You can skip some subjects maybe. And they offer deepening kind of options for subjects as well. So kids who need extra, there's the opportunity there. Global citizenship. So it's a UNESCO school. So this is a big part of their vision. There are around 10,000, approximately 10,000 UNESCO schools worldwide, maybe around 74, I think, off the top of my head, in the Netherlands, and Metis Montessori is one of them. The global citizenship it's a separate subject in the lower years, but it's reflected throughout their education.
Yeah.
So they're big into looking beyond your own world and looking outwards.
Okay.
And then, like I said, Montessori is their the third pillar that they're founded on. Collaborative learning is very important. Help me do it myself.
Yeah.
Maria Montessori's saying.
Yes.
That's their one of their mottos as well. And the fourth one is innovative learning. So it's also a digital school. All students work with their own laptop. So you have to have a laptop here. And again, you can buy it through the school and you can get a discount.
Yeah.
But it's completely necessary. So all regular student subjects, such as English, maths, geography, they work with a laptop, but also there are school-specific subjects like I&C, information and communication, and they also have a research and design subject. So they're also digitally based. So they're really into, improving your digital skills, basically. They also have three we'd say profiles at the Metis. Coder class.
Yeah.
If you're really into, programming and computers,
right.
you get 5 hours of intensive coder class per week. And in that profile, there's lots of freedom to work on your own learning path. You also work with companies and universities and colleges, and you can do an internship with some companies. So they have very close connections with the technology departments in universities and colleges, and also with technology companies.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is
that's really good.
Great. Yeah. They also have a Metis profile, it's called. So that is, the focus here is on a global citizenship and a creative work, like writing scripts, making set pieces for theatre and performing. And their other profile is Coder class, Metis, and oh my God, it's totally Technasium. How can I forget?
Okay, yeah.
They have a Technasium, which is very technology focused.
Right.
Yeah, so they're the three
they're really covering everything.
options there. Yeah. Now the other thing about this school is it's really popular. Like it's actually very hard to get in. It's probably one of the most popular schools in Amsterdam.
Yeah.
So you would have to get and because it's a Montessori high school, you would have priority if you go to a Montessori primary school. Mm-hmm. So then there probably are not that many places left over for kids who haven't gone to a Montessori primary school. Right. Unfortunately, my child, who did go to Montessori primary school, isn't interested in this one because she's not interested in coding or anything like that. So it feels like a waste, I'm like, no, missed the boat on this one, wrong child. But I have friends who really hope to get into this school this year, so I hope that they do. So the levels at Metis Montessori are MAFO, HAFO, FEFEO. Oh yeah, the other really nice thing about Metis is they have a special class for kids who are on the autism spectrum.
Okay, yeah. So
if you have a HAFO advice, minimum HAFO advice from your primary school, you can apply to this ASD class. And it's too late, by the way, for this year. The application was way back in January. Yeah. But for maybe people will be listening to this podcast next year, so just to be aware of it. Yeah. And they have a small class, so it's great. They have 12 to 14 pupils in the class with trained teachers. It's very low stimulus, and it's very structured.
Yeah.
So that's super. Let me see. The subjects, I mentioned research and design. They do social studies there, global citizenship, information and communication, plus creativity. So they teach software relating to film, photography, Google Docs. This is in the lower years. Basically, the purpose is to increase your digital skills. Yeah. You do Scratch programming, how to create an ebook. You publish your own ebook. All this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
They say they have very good contact with parents. They do breakfast mornings, which wouldn't be that common. And they also do a home visit in the first year, in the early years, to make a good connection with the family.
Yeah.
Their motto is that you surpass yourself at Metis.
Nice.
That's their motto. Yeah.
Very ambitious.
They have 2 locations in Oost. They and I mentioned it's a UNESCO school. So what they do is they structurally incorporate UNESCO themes into their education. So it's kind of throughout, like peace and human rights and intercultural learning, sustainability, citizenship.
Yeah.
The idea is they want to train their students to become world citizens.
Yes.
Their costs are start at €140 and it goes up to €350 depending on what grade you're in. So I guess first year could be €140, second year goes up a little bit.
Okay, yeah.
So tops $350, and then the Technasium, I mentioned the 3 profiles. So the Technasium and the Coder class profiles, that costs €85 extra for nothing, I think.
Yeah.
And school trips are extra.
Yes.
Okay, so they don't.
Okay.
Some schools incorporate that every year.
Yeah.
Like our school, I think they add it in every year. So we pay the same amount every year. Mm-hmm. And then other schools do it differently. So you pay a smaller amount, but then when the school trip comes along in 4th year or 5th year or whatever, then you pay your bigger amount of money. Yeah, okay. They don't have music. Just so so that's why it's also off the table for us, because my kid wants a music. She wants to do music for her final exam. Okay. They also have art. They do art, and they have like an art gang group. That's how I translate it anyway. It's Kunstbände. And they do theatre and filmmaking. And they also have a solidarity fund as well, which is... well, lots of schools have this like solidarity fund or an emergency school. I think practically every school does. So if you're on a low income and if you can't even pay, if you can't pay those fees, you can apply to the emergency fund or the solidarity fund for help. They'll pay your fee or pay part of it. The solidarity fund, the solidarity aspect is that parents who have, who are much more comfortable, financially comfortable, they can choose to pay into the solidarity fund so that the kids basically from lower income families then are taken care of, so it's kind of like sort of a community effort, by the parents who can afford it.
Great.
So that is lovely.
Isn't it?
Yeah, I love that. Yeah.
Really good.
So, that's the Metis Montessori.
Okay. Yeah, all right.
So,
well, thank you very much,
sounds
Margaret.
Great.
Yes. So, are you nearly ready now, having put all this work into finding out about schools? Are you about ready to fill in that form?
No, we're not ready yet. So our list is 12. We have to have 12 schools, and at the moment on my daughter's list, she has. So far, like she is deciding how to rank the schools. Okay. I haven't really given her any input yet. Yeah. Now, if I need to guide her a little bit, I will, because I would obviously know more about the schools, and she can't visit them because, the whole online thing. Yeah. But so far, she seems like fairly kind of comfortable with the one she's picked. Yeah. That she feels she's got a good idea. She's written all the pros and cons and everything. Great. And I've used some of her notes, by the way. I should really say that. She's helped me out, so she's great. My Dutch is improving because I'm reading all of her little Dutch notes. Which is funny, and her pros and cons. But so she has 7 on her list, and we have another 5 to go.
And how much more time have you got?
We've another 2 weeks at least. Okay. I think the end date before you have to hand it in, I think, is the 19th off the top of my head. Yeah. I did mention this earlier in one of the previous podcasts. Yeah. So no, I mean, I'm not stressed about it. I mean, I'm looking forward to when it's all over and we just hand the damn thing in and we're done with it.
Of course.
Because it seems to be going on forever. Oh my God.
Yes. Yeah.
And it's not as much fun this time round, because you're not going to the school. So you're not seeing your child's response, to the building and the atmosphere and everything like that. So it's, it's not as much, although it's not as tiring either. That's the thing. Because when you're going to all of these 15, 20 schools, it is also exhausting in January and February. But overall, I wish that we did have the opportunity to do that. So I think by next week, by the end, definitely by the end of next week, we'll definitely have our list done and dusted and ready to go. Yeah. Very good. But she knows, she pretty much knows her top school. I'm not going to say what that is yet. No. But
well, that's good. That's good that she's fairly clear. Yeah. Which is no mean feat when you've had to look at so many schools and in the circumstances as well.
Exactly. Yeah.
Margaret, thank you so much for all that information. I appreciate that was a lot to get through. And
no bother.
You sure? No, really greatly appreciated all that information on some local schools there for that Middlebare mashup. Really great research.
Good to get it out there.
Yes, absolutely. So we'll be back next week for what might be the final instalment. Is that correct?
Well, definitely one, and maybe then a little mini one to wrap it up the week after, I'm thinking.
Perfect.
Broadcast Amsterdam.
Broadcast Amsterdam, your local radio station, 24/7 and on demand. Or on broadcastamsterdam.nl.